welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss regarding protocols and conventions. Before starting with our session here, what I wanted to tell you was that last 4-5 years when we look at the trend, as far as conventions and protocols is concerned, they generally tend to ask what is its purpose, what are its salient features. That's it. They don't ask about years, they don't ask about in-depth details or anything. So generally when you are preparing for environment or for any subject, always try to find out that one point which will sound a little odd from the normal. That is, when you are reading about it, you will automatically start feeling that there is, from this point you can get a question. How to recognize all that, I'll give you a brief idea regarding it in the process of our class and session. So we will do that accordingly. Okay. So without any further delay, let me just introduce you to the chapter. So last time we have done IUCN. IUCN formed in the year 1948 under the initiative of UNESCO, and then it had It had nothing to do with UN. It was not a part or member of UN. IUCN was instrumental for the conference, the UN Conference on Human Environment in the year 1972 in Stockholm. Now, out of this, three conventions were born. 1972 that particular Stockholm conference led to three conventions. Which are those three conventions? Convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage sites, also known as Washington Convention and Ramsar Convention. Three conventions came out of this. Now, what you have to remember here in this regard is, to study all these conventions, either you can go for it year wise or you can go it any other order what you prefer. What I have done is I've segregated into area based, fauna based, chemical based, and random conventions and protocols, which can actually be a little confusing and you can go wrong in marking your options. All right. So, and I'm reading out it from my own handwritten notes just in case you people are wondering. So, yeah. So, we will start off with area or region based convention. That is our first heading. Okay. Under that, you have convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage. Now, details regarding this, that is how many such heritage sites are there, mixed sites are there, etc. You will get it from the internet. But that is not the point here. The point is, you will take up your atlas and you will mark it. Try to mark these areas in your map there. The purpose of it is so that you will get familiarized. Next thing what you will do is, in these sites again, you will try to find out whether there are any endemic species, flora, fauna, any major river, etc. Anything that is special about these sites, find it out. All right, that is what you're going to do. Number two, the second area or region based convention. Now, first one we saw, which is convention concerning protection of world cultural and natural heritage. Second one is Ramsar Convention, which was also born out of UNCHE. Under Ramsar Convention, basically it is based out of Iran. It is It is concerning the conservation of wetlands. Number three, the important point is Ramsar's headquarter is shared with IUCN headquarter, which I would have told you in my last video that the headquarter of IUCN is based out of Gland, Switzerland, and I have asked you to keep it in mind. All right, this was the reason for it. Number three, Montreux record. Now, Montreux record basically means what? It is basically all those wetlands where there has been a change in its ecological character. Two wetland sites from India feature in it. One wetland site used to be there in it but has come out of it now. Which are these wetlands? Please find it out and mark it in your map. Some of you had actually called me and told me that you are not having your atlas, you are staying in your home, you don't have access to many resources. It is quite natural, but that shouldn't stop you from Googling the map and then finding out where those regions are. It is not going to have the same effect as looking into an atlas, but still please do it, because the whole idea is you will be familiarized with the map, and map based questions you can get anywhere between 2 to 3. All right, moving on. Now we are done with area or region based convention. Three conventions under it. Convention on concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage sites, Ramsar Convention, Montreux record. Keep these three in mind. Now for the second heading, which is Fauna Convention. Under Fauna Convention, the first convention that we are going to deal with is International Whaling Convention. Now, International Whaling Convention, when we talk about International Whaling Convention, started off, how it all started in the chronology we will see. First of all, there was an agreement, international agreement for the regulation of whaling in the year 1937. Remember that before even India's independence, 1937, there was an international agreement for the regulation of whaling. 1937, International Whaling Convention came about in the year 1946. And all the agenda of International Whaling Convention is implemented through the International Whaling Commission. Okay? So that is the order of it. International Agreement for the Regulation of Whaling, International Whaling Convention, then International Whaling Commission. Alright, moving on. 1986, complete ban on commercial whaling. 1994, Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary was established, which is in Antarctica. Then, similarly, Indian Ocean Whale Sanctuary is there, which is based out in Seychelles. India is a party to this convention. Clear? After that, we come to Florianopolis Declaration. Now, what is this Florianopolis Declaration? Florianopolis Declaration basically says that the whale population has to be recovered to its pre-industrial levels. Florianopolis, Florianopolis Declaration. Okay, now with that we complete International Whaling Convention, which was the first one under the head of fauna-based conventions. Number 2, we are going to deal with CITES. CITES. CITES is also known as the Washington Convention. It does not seek directly to protect endangered species. Prelims based point this is. You can get a question here. Because generally when we take off CITES, we basically think what it is to do with it is a convention that tries to prevent the poaching of or the trade in endangered species of plants and animals. That is what we think of. But it does not directly seek to protect the endangered species. What it is trying to do is it is trying to reduce the economic incentive of such trades. That is what it is trying to do. Alright. And it is regulated by the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 in our country. What is Wildlife Protection Act? What are its provisions? And what are other such acts or policies will be covered in the subsequent videos. Okay. For now, just remember this. CITES is regulated by WPA 1972. It is legally binding. It has got 2 appendix. Appendix 1, which deals with species, that is endangered species that are threatened with extinction. Appendix 2, it deals with those species which are not threatened with extinction but whose repeated trade will lead to extinction. Clear? Now, once we finish discussion on CITES, the next body that we have to discuss here will be traffic. Now, why we need to discuss on traffic? Traffic we need to discuss simply because both traffic and CITES deals with what? Trade in endangered species of animals and plants. But the interesting thing is, while CITES is an intergovernmental treaty, traffic is an NGO. And how was this NGO formed? This NGO was formed as a result of an alliance between IUCN and WWF. Getting the point? IUCN, WWF. IUCN itself is not a part of UN. Remember. And IUCN and WWF together led to the formation of traffic, which is again what? An NGO. What is its purpose? Prevent trade in endangered species of plants and animals. Clear? Now, apart from this, what we need to know is they work in close cooperation with CITES. Next thing is they have their first agendas or rather programs in India was don't buy trouble. Don't buy, B-U-Y, trouble. The next one is Wanted Alive. Wanted Alive campaign. Now, Wanted Alive campaign basically covers 4 animals. Tiger, leopard, clouded leopard, snow leopard. Within India only. Clear? Remember these 2 things here. So, traffic I am discussing only because it has the similar agenda of CITES. Whereas CITES is an intergovernmental treaty, traffic is an NGO. Traffic, IUCN plus WWF. CITES, born out of 1972 UNCHE Stockholm Conference, which was again under the initiative of IUCN. Clear? These are the confusing areas here. Then we come to what? The Bonn Convention. When we talk about the Bonn Convention is also known as Convention on Migratory Species. And in this migratory species, when we talk about, it includes terrestrial, marine, avian, migratory organisms. So it covers all the organisms. Now a question for you. Does it cover insects? One insect comes under this. Imagine. Under CITES convention, one insect is covered. Which is that insect? Find it out. All right, and it is basically what is it? Conventional. It is a basic. It is also known as a global wildlife conference that comes under the aegis of UNEP. UNEP. UNEP was born out of UNCHE Stockholm Conference. So see how much important that Stockholm Conference was. All right. On one side, it led to the creation of UNEP. On the other side, it led to the creation of three, what is it, conventions. All right. Clear with this so far? Moving on, it has got two appendix again. Appendix 1, which talks about endangered migratory species, and Appendix 2, which talks about species that would benefit from international agreements. Just remember it. Now, the last point with regard to Bonn Convention is it is the only global and UN based intergovernmental organization. Only global and UN based intergovernmental organization. Clear? Keep that in mind. So, that is what it is. Bonn Convention, we are done with it. Now, when we talk about Bonn Convention, we also have to talk about two Bonn agreements. Bonn Convention, BONN Convention. Then Bonn agreements are there. That two are there. Bonn Agreement, BONN. First Bonn Agreement came about in the year 1969. The second Bonn Agreement came in the year 2001. Bonn Agreement 1969 deals with an international agreement by North Sea coastal states along with European Union, where they offer mutual assistance and cooperation in combating pollution. Remember that. Bonn Agreement of 2001 talks about the agreement on provisional arrangements in Afghanistan pending the re-establishment of permanent government institutions. So friends, we have finished two topics, area based, under which we saw convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage. We saw Ramsar Convention, we saw Montreal's Record. Under the second heading of fauna based conventions, we saw International Whaling Convention, we saw CITES, we saw its difference with traffic, and we also talked about Bonn Convention and the two different Bonn agreements, how it is different from this. Now we come to chemical conventions. Now this is the most, here we'll have the most number of conventions here. First on in that regard is the Vienna Convention, which basically talks about preventing what or eliminating or phasing out ozone depleting substances. Subsequent the Vienna Convention, you had the Montreal Protocol, which talked about phasing out CFC, which is a very potent ozone depleting chemical. It is used as a refrigerant. Kigali Amendment, which is an amendment to the Montreal Protocol, talks about phasing out HFC. Now remember one thing, HFC already comes under another protocol, which is the Kyoto Protocol. Under that, 6 greenhouse gases are there. Under that, HFC comes over it. Then why have we tried to adopt HFC again in Kigali Amendment? The reason for that is very simple. It is the Paris Agreement. Under Paris Agreement, which we have seen last time, I already told you, Paris Agreement, the target is what? Keep the global temperature below 2 degrees Celsius. And even if the temperature is going to rise, we have to restrict it up to a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius. To meet this target, we need Kigali Amendment. Getting the point? Now, what is the trouble with this is that this is actually going to be challenging for countries like India, because India has agreed to this, and that basically means that we will be requiring the technology from the West, we'll be requiring fund also from the West. Trying to develop it indigenously is going to be economically very taxing for the business or the refrigerant related manufacturers here in India. Clear? Now, after Kigali, so that is to do with basically ozone depleting substances. Vienna Convention, Montreal Protocol, Kigali Amendment. Now we come to the Basel Convention on Transboundary Movement of Hazardous Waste. Okay, transboundary movement of hazardous waste. That is, if you are shifting waste from one point to the other. Now, 2 to 3 things are important under this Basel Convention. Which is, first thing what you have to remember is, it does not cover, remember, does not cover radioactive waste. Basically what it means is the waste from the industrialized rich nations, they are gone and dumped in the poor countries. Getting the point? And actually because of this, the key word, one of the key word under this convention is NIMBY, 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 which means not in my backyard. Just the starting letters of all this. Not in my backyard. Clear? Now, Basel Convention was not so successful. And that is where you have the Bamako Convention. BAMAKO. Bamako Convention was signed by all the African countries in the continent of Africa. And it was formulated largely because of the failure of the Basel Convention. Bamako Convention covers hazardous waste as well as radioactive waste. Clear? After that, you have Rotterdam Convention. Rotterdam Convention basically talks about the import of hazardous chemicals. That's it. It just talks about the import of hazardous chemicals, what rules and things has to be followed for it. Then we come to the Stockholm Convention. Stockholm Convention talks about persistent organic pollutants. That is, there are certain chemicals that remains in the environment for too long a time period. They never get what degraded. All right. So Stockholm Convention covers persistent organic pollutants. Under that, we have what you call as the dirty dozen, which is pesticides. Under three heads it is coming: pesticides, industrial chemicals, byproducts. Under pesticides you have aldrin, chlordane, DDT, dieldrin, endrin, heptachlor, myrin and toxaphene. So basically these chemicals come under it. Then you have industrial chemicals like hexachlorobenzene and PCB. PCB, which is polychlorinated biphenyl. Byproducts PCDD or PCDF, which is polychlorinated dibenzopyroxenes, polychlorinated dibenzofurans. Now automatically some of you might be thinking, should we remember all this? To remember all these names exactly, it won't be easy, but at least try to know this comes under, all these chemicals are covered under what? The Stockholm Convention. Why it is covered? Because they are persistently organic pollutants, because they remain in the environment for too long. They don't get degraded that easily. Remember that. Now, I talked to you about Basel Convention, Rotterdam. Basel Convention is to do with waste. Rotterdam is to do with import of chemicals. Stockholm Convention is to do with persistent organic pollutants. These three conventions were collaborated or merged together, and their headquarters were merged together, and it led to the formation of the VRS Convention. All right, in 2012 they did it. They merged all this together and made it one single headquarter. They made for all these three conventions. Keep that in mind. After that, we come to the next convention, which is the Minamata Convention, which is to do with mercury poisoning. Minamata is the name of a place in Japan where large amount of cases of mercury poisoning was reported. All right. Under the Minamata Convention, again, you have a mercury club, whereby which you can make donations to the club, and according to the donations made, you will be given a gold, silver, or a bronze ranking. All right. So with that, we finished three conventions, three headings now: area-based, fauna-based, chemical-based. Now we will see marine-based conventions. Number one is Bunker Convention, which is basically to deal with oil pollution. It talks about the strategies or the methodologies that needs to be followed when it comes to oil pollution. Then the next thing that we are going to deal with is Bangkok Declaration, which comes under ASEAN. ASEAN meeting came about with this Bangkok Declaration, which is basically to deal with the marine debris pollution. Marine debris basically means marine debris. When we talk about it, is basically the plastic pollution, because South Asia is one region where almost all the plastic wastes are dumped. And what is the problem with this is this plastic will slowly break down into microplastics. It is basically said that we are consuming 5 grams of microplastics in a week. Yeah, so that is one thing. Now we come to the next section, which is random declarations or protocols. Before that, once again, area based we finished. In that we saw Convention on the Conserving World Natural and Cultural Sites, Ramsar Convention, Montreux Record. Then under fauna, we saw International Whaling Convention, we saw the Bonn Convention, we saw the Washington Convention. Right, then we came to chemical. Under chemical, we saw the Vienna Convention, the Montreal Protocol, the Kigali Amendment. Three things we saw. Then we saw Basel Convention, Bamako Convention, Rotterdam Convention, Stockholm Convention, Minamata Convention. All this we have covered now. Now we move on to random declarations of protocols. That is, these declarations of protocols, when we hear at first, we may feel it is to do with environment, but sometimes it is not to do with environment also. Okay, so let us see Bali Declaration. Bali Declaration talks about zero congestion, pollution and accident, and towards the next generation transport system in Asia. Okay, Bali Declaration: zero congestion, accident, pollution. in developing the next transport system in Asia. Then you have Bangkok 2020. Bangkok 2020 declaration simply talks about that 2010 to 2020 we should try to achieve what? Sustainable transport goals. Okay. Then you have Aarhus Convention. AARHUS. Aarhus Convention. Under that you have, which is basically comes under the aegis of UN Economic Commission for Europe. And this convention talks about access to justice and information, as well as the public private participation in what? Decision making with respect to environment. That is what it is. Aarhus Convention. So it is about access to justice and information, as well as public participation in decision making with respect to environment. Keep it in mind. Then Bali Communique. Bali, BALI, Communique, COMMUNIQUE, under which talks about a comprehensive framework to combat climate change, an initiative of 150 private companies. All right. Then you have Environmental Modification Convention. It is a convention on the prohibition of military or any other hostile use of environmental modification techniques in the environment. Basically what it means is, say for example, in the name of warfare, now there are so many countries in the world which don't look eye to eye. So if you want to destroy a country, all you need to do is what? You can destroy its weather, you can destroy the agriculture there. So weather based warfare won't be carried out. That is what Environmental Modification Convention is trying to cover. All right. In this regard, you have to remember Convention on Biodiversity also bans some form of weather modification and geoengineering. CBD was born out of Rio Earth Summit in 1992. All right, keep that in mind. Then you have Sydney Declaration, which is again, came out of the meeting of APEC-based countries, which talks about energy efficiency and encouraging forest cover. All right, energy efficiency and encouraging forest cover. Then you have Helsinki Protocol, HELSINKI Protocol. It basically talks about reducing sulfur emissions or transboundary fluxes by 30%, and it came about in the year 1985. Then you have Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which talks about measuring and management greenhouse gases that are released from public and private corporations. Okay. Then next convention is Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. All right, again comes under UN Economic Commission for Europe. So remember, these two things are coming under UN Economic Commission for Europe. One is the Aarhus Convention, which is about access to information, justice and public participation in all decision making matters as far as environment is concerned. The second one is to do with Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution, which is known as the Air Pollution Convention or CLR-TAP Convention. It is basically the first letters of Convention Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. Okay. Last protocol is Palermo Protocol. PALERMO Protocol. It is basically a supplement to the Palermo Convention. It deals with human trafficking as well as the illicit manufacture trafficking in firearms. It is basically carried out under the aegis of UN Office on Drugs and Crime. So friends, with that we come to an end of all the conventions and protocols. I know it was a little lengthy, maybe it was a little too fast also for you, but just write it down, pause the video wherever it was necessary, and please write it down and make a note of it, because this is strictly from the exam point of view. I'm not going into too much of elaboration or details, because just go through this. At least if you know, okay, this convention is to do with this took place in this year, it will get over. Definitely you may be thinking, why have I not covered Rio Earth Summit? It is only because I've already covered it in the earlier video, but very quickly I will still revise it for you. Now Rio Earth Summit came out with 3 conventions: UNFCCC, UNCBD, UNCCD. UNFCCC is to do with Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. UNCBD came out with the Cartagena Protocol, Nagoya Protocol, Aichi Biodiversity Targets, and then Gangwon and Pyeongchang Declaration. When it comes to the last convention, that is the UNCCD, which is basically talks about a bottom-up approach, legally binding framework, and it also has a committee on science and technology. These things are pretty general, there is nothing great. But one significant point which I missed out in the last video was about the Ordus Declaration, which is ORDOS, Ordus Declaration, which specifies about concrete targets that has to be achieved with regard to achievement of or preventing desertification or how to reclaim the land again. All right. And under that, under UNCCD again, you have a land degradation neutrality fund. And again, publications are there. What these funds are, etc. That will be taken in another video. So basically, funding, organizations, rules and acts, separate videos will be made for this. Purpose is just listen to this once and keep it in mind so that when you see the options, at least you will know, okay, this convention is to do with that. Definitely, this is not the option then. That much of recognition is enough. Because going into in-depth detail about any convention doesn't make any sense. Just know what it is, what is its main purpose, what are the major areas from where a question can come from. If you know that much, that is more than enough. You'll be able to eliminate the option and you'll be able to arrive at your right answer. All right. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment. And if you want me to make any changes with the way I'm taking the video also, please do tell me and let me know. Okay. Have a nice day. Take care.